So we're going to see how this new platform works out.
Hey everybody.
Hello, hello, hello. We are using a different platform tonight.
Hey
So
everybody.
please let us know um, when you are on. How was everybody's day? So we are going to do talk about it Tuesday. How many more days to Christmas?
I don't know.
You like, you like, I'm not excited.
Listen,
Look, I was a little down about it, but I'm trying to do some things to pep myself up. So I went and bought another elf on the shelf for my daughter tonight.
okay.
Hmm.
My kids are too old for that. So I don't know what we're gonna do to pep up around here.
13 days to Christmas.
Mm. I do enjoy looking at all of the holiday stuff. I just don't. It just doesn't feel, I don't know. The excitement of the holidays is gone. Still grateful, you know. Still looking forward to
Hmm.
all the things, but just that excitement. It's just like,
It's not there.
it's not there.
I understand.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to see our comments. Has anybody commented?
Not yet. I just let me tag some people.
I see something about Shakila.
That was me. That
That was you. Okay.
was me.
Oh, I guess I can put it on the screen. Okay, so no, that's not what we want to do.
Okay. I don't see.
Oh, Lakeisha said I can see you. Hi, Lakeisha.
Hi, Lakeisha.
I hope you're feeling better. So we have a little topic in mind for tonight, but y'all know every week when we come to y'all, we ask y'all, what do y'all want to talk about? Nobody ever says, why is that?
Ever.
Y'all got to have some questions or something.
It's a judgment-free zone.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm gonna tag a few people. Hey, Liz. Liz say, listen, my girl down for whatever. Liz say we can talk about anything. So yeah.
Look, when you said Liz for a minute, I thought you was talking about Herrera. I was like,
No,
what?
no,
Hi,
no.
Liz.
So yeah. Um, y'all don't have to be shy. Like this is a learning curve for us too. So we just, I ain't gonna say we winging it, but we're learning as we go. We're building the plane as we fly it, right? We just see a need and we're trying to do our best to meet that need. Hey, Sanji. Um, we're trying to do our best to meet that need. So yeah. So what we had discussed, uh, what we had said we were going to talk about tonight was relationships. If y'all don't like that, nah, I ain't gonna throw it. um, but yeah, with it being the holiday season, and okay, Liz, we'll get to your question. We'll address that. Yolanda, we do have a question that we want to get back to from Liz. Um,
Okay.
but with it being the holiday season, um, it can be difficult. Like before we got on here, Yolanda and I were talking about how, you know, sometimes, especially this time of year, you seeing all the matching pajama pictures and, you know, all the standing in front of the gold door at the Capitol and the family photos and the family gatherings. And, you know, it can be a lot if you are not in a relationship or not in a healthy place in your relationship, or maybe you've lost your spouse or significant other. Um, so it can be a challenging time for a lot of reasons. Maybe you're not in community or in a good space with your family. And so your family relationships are strained. So, does anybody that's on right now have a question or a comment concerning that area, or that specific topic? Um, and so we'll just talk through how do you handle that things. Okay, holidays are hard because now I have had to distance myself from. Okay, so creating a distance is sometimes necessary when you have been in an unhealthy or toxic relationships, and then during those times of year when you know, it's time for family to come together. It's like it's pouring salt in the wound, or it feels like pouring salt in the wound sometimes, because you feel alone, and sometimes you can be tempted to fall back into those unhealthy patterns because you don't want to be alone. Um, and so it's kind of like, what do you do? Do I go back to a space that's not good for me, um, or do I stand my ground and stick to what I know is best?
She said, "How do I get over the guilt of having to distance, um, well, or having to distance yourself?" So, can I ask a question? I mean, she obviously distanced herself for a reason.
You can ask her.
Um, is there a way to reconcile, or are you good with the distance?
And I'm gonna add a part B to that question. Can the distance be temporary? And what I mean by that is, what caused you to distance yourself? Is it something that you all could work through? And while she's responding, I'll add, like, sometimes just in general, we feel guilt when we have had to create boundaries or sever ties or create distance between us and people that we have biological connections to, or we've been connected to for an extended amount of time. We feel guilt because we feel like we are expected to maintain that relationship, right? So you don't feel guilty about things that you know um, you're supposed to do, right? If you um, kill a spider, you don't feel guilty about that because it shouldn't have been there. But when you do things that you feel like should not have been done, it can create a sense of guilt. And so I think um, best ways to address that guilt is to remind yourself of why you did it. You didn't do it out of malice or, ill will or to cause harm or confusion. You did it because it was unhealthy for you. Um, it was draining. It was taking more from you than it was giving. And so you remind yourself of the reasons that you had to create that distance, um, or set that boundary to begin with.
She said, I'm really not good with distance. However, I have to do it. I'm trying to reconcile for years and I have tried to look the other way.
So have you tried adjusting your expectations of them? Like sometimes I think we create distance when we need to adjust expectations. So unfortunately, some of our parents can't be, and Yolanda and I have had this conversation before, and not just parents, but sometimes the people who are connected to us can't be what we want them to be or who we want them to be to us, right? We may want a mother that's loving and supportive and that you can talk to about anything like the ones that your friends have, or you may want a father who is showing up at your games and taking you to practice and outside showing you running line drills with you or whatever the case is, and you don't have that. But that doesn't mean that they don't have value. So sometimes it's a matter of accepting the heartbreak of not getting what it is that we want, um, or the version of them that we want, and accepting what it is that they have to offer. And it's a grieving process, right? Because it's a loss. It's sad and it hurts. But if you can just accept that, okay, this is who they are, I need to adjust my expectations of them. So maybe I don't have to not be around them at all. Maybe we can just only do day trips. I can't stay overnight because you're gonna get to talking crazy and acting a fool. Or, it's like some of my folks, or let me not say my folks, some people I know, after the third bottle get empty, it's time to go because it's about to get a little rambunctious. You know what I mean? Just creating more realistic expectations of those people.
Yeah. Hey, Jamal.
It's not about lowering your expectations, it's about adjusting them, right? So people are going to be who they are. Um, but and just because they can't be who we want them to be doesn't mean they don't have anything to offer. So it's not that I don't expect you to do anything. People can't give what they don't have.
Elizabeth, can you give me one example of something that they may do that you feel is lower than your expectations? And I'm going somewhere with this.
Yeah.
But piggybacking on what you said, I think sometimes, we expect certain things out of people. Um, and they just don't have it to give
Hmm.
for whatever reason.
Yeah. Like we may expect compassion or empathy. We may expect thoughtfulness. If you're the type that you go in the store and you see something somebody might like, even if it's $1 or $2 or whatever the case is, you're the type that'll grab it. Some people are the type they ain't never thinking of nobody else. Not like that. If you ask them, they may do it, but they just don't have that level of thoughtfulness. It doesn't mean that they don't care. They just, like you said, don't have it to give.
And then the other thing is we have to remember everybody has a story, right?
Hmm.
So sometimes people have had their own trauma and they may not disclose that to you.
Hmm.
And that may be showing up in their interactions with you.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And
And it sounds like that's not what you're getting.
yeah, yeah, I get that. And you know, the saddest part, at least we'll have a conversation later. But the where you said you expect the same grace or praise that her other children get. That's one of the saddest things about parents. And as a mom, I know that, all of my kids are different. Every mom knows that their children are different and
Mm,
they need different things from us and need different versions of us. And the sad thing is that the strong kids, the ones that you don't have to worry about, sometimes as parents we create trauma in them because we're looking at it like, oh, they got it, I ain't got to worry about them, and to them
right.
it feels like they don't care about me. They're always asking about the other one or looking out for the other one. And as the parent, you're looking at, I gotta cheer them on or they ain't gonna do it.
Mm,
That one gonna do it. I ain't gotta worry about her. She gonna make sure she get her stuff done. This one, I gotta hold their hand and walk them through and clap and bring out the pom poms to get them through. And sometimes it's unintentional, but it doesn't stop it from hurting. Does that
right.
make sense?
You're the child that says what needs to be said, and the other ones don't. Where are you in the order of your siblings?
Yeah.
Are you the oldest, the youngest? She said the black sheep. That's tough.
The youngest. Yeah.
Youngest. Okay. A lot
And
of times it is the youngest that says what needs to be said.
because parents be tired, and that's not a justification, that's not an excuse. It's just by the time the last ones come along, they're depleted, and unfortunately that youngest child sometimes suffers, um and are left to fend for themselves.
Hey, Sheila.
And Liz, what I would offer is, instead of, sometimes it's not that the black sheep, it's sometimes you're the curse breaker, the cycle breaker. You know what I'm saying? You're the one that is bold enough to step out and that and not just accept how things have been, not just go along with family secrets or family habits. And that's a heavy load to carry.
Hmm.
Yep. They're older, but you're the exactly the strong one. You're the youngest, but you're the one that everything falls on, because you have that bold fearlessness. And that doesn't mean you're never afraid, but you're willing to be the one that speaks up. And even if they don't say it, they show it because they're always coming to you. You don't come to somebody who you think can't help you, carry something. You come to who you feel is the strongest. But people get tired of being strong now, you know, especially when it's not reciprocated.
Are your siblings at least 50? Between the ages of 40, I'm going to say 48 to 50. LaQuenta, do you know?
She said they're 20 years older, so yeah, they're probably up there. They got to be up there because of our age.
And they're over 50. Okay. The family secrets are what is tearing us apart. I want answers from my traumatic experiences, and I don't want to keep hearing just let it go.
Hmm.
I definitely understand that the answers will probably help you heal, but the thing about it is you can't control anyone. So if you want answers to questions that they're not willing to give, you have to ask yourself, well, what do I have to do to move on? Or what do I need to do to heal?
Yeah. And sometimes they don't know how, like you said, it's the secrets. You got to think about it. there it's probably happened in generations before and it's never been addressed, and nobody else ever had the courage to ask why or how, or you know what I mean, nobody else ever had the courage to speak up. And so your answers will probably trigger years of, other people's trauma too that they don't want to deal with. And that doesn't make it right. It's probably way deeper than just your answers. And that's what they're afraid of. They shouldn't be, because everybody needs the healing. But some people are just too afraid of opening that Pandora's box, so to speak.
And so our post on December the 5th said, healing is a journey, not an eraser. It's about reclaiming control from past wounds. Let the scars be a testament to your strength and resilience. Healing doesn't mean that the damage never existed, it means the damage no longer controls our lives. And so the sad part about it is they're probably still being controlled by it because they are resistant to talking about it.
Mhm.
And I guarantee you it shows up in various different ways. Um, and it could be self medication. It could be, and when I say that, I'm not just talking about drugs and alcohol. It could be overeating, overspending. It could be several different things. Exercising too much.
So Sandra has a line of shirts, um, and they say currently healing. They're really cute, and it's healing is not um just it's not like finding the answer to a single question. It's an ongoing process, right? And it's not something that comes easy. It's like by the time you figure out one thing and you think you're okay, you usually discover something else that can knock you off of your feet. And part of healing, I think, is coming to the acceptance that some people won't give you the answers that you need. But that doesn't mean you can't heal.
Right.
Sometimes the healing is, in spite of this, I'll still not let it control me.
Is there anybody in the audience who wants to respond to her?
So, while we're waiting, I would encourage you, Lisa, see if you can find a space where, at your current level of healing, you can you can start to build something. Build a relationship again. Um, Yolanda, do you want to address this first? What does healing look like?
Who asked that question?
Liz.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. So it looks different for everybody. I think it's gonna be different from you than it may be for me. Um, for me, healing was just letting go, and understanding that yes, something happened, but it didn't necessarily define me. It also meant that just because I forgave that person doesn't mean that I have to let them back in my space. I think that's something that a misconception that in our community we've been taught. Oh, you just need to let that go. Oh, you just need to forgive them. Okay, well, I can forgive them, but it doesn't mean that I have to let them back in my space.
And Sandra, if you're still here, can you tap into this, because I know you're big on healing. Um, and so for me, healing looked like accepting that person's capacity, right? Accepting that they couldn't be to me who I needed them to be. And so I had to make peace with the version of them that they could give me.
Hey,
Um,
Sharonda.
um, it looked like not allowing anger to consume me. It looked like making peace with uh, the ending of relationships, making peace with the ending of connections, making peace with my own mistakes and learning from them and moving forward, figuring out what worked for me and what didn't work for me, and being okay with that, regardless of how anyone else felt about it.
I want to respond to her. She said, I feel like sometimes I'm over it or leaning or, oh, okay, or leaving it behind. And small things like a smell or a song can take you right back to that moment. Okay, so that doesn't necessarily mean, in my opinion, that you're not healed. Um, I think there's it's two parts to that. So when I think about me and my own trauma, yeah, you're human, so you may be triggered from time to time.
Mhm.
But I think we have to give ourselves grace and say, well, why should I not be triggered in this situation?
Mhm.
This is something that happened to me, and whatever it is, it's familiar, but it's a familiarity that I am uncomfortable with. So yes, for a minute, I may I may be triggered, but I'm not going to allow myself to stay here.
Right.
I'm going to acknowledge, okay, I'm going to sit with my feelings for a minute, and then I'm going to use a coping strategy so that I can move on about my day. I'm not going to let it control my entire day.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, it was not lashing out, being able to be triggered, but then not lashing out, not being angry, or having displaced anger with other people.
Yeah. Because triggers are, I mean, not always negative, right? They play the right song, we might go back to the rink in Conway. You know what I mean? So when it triggers a negative memory, you don't have to let it pull you back into that space emotionally, right? You take control of your thoughts, and so it may cause you to think about that thing that happened, but it doesn't have to pull you back into that place emotionally. So say you hear a song or smell something, you're like, oh, that is taking me, I remember when, and then you remind yourself, I'm not in that place anymore. I've moved forward from that. I'm in a more healed space now. Because you may not be completely healed, but you're definitely in a more healed space now.
Mhm.
The rink, baby. You better tell her. No, but yeah, we do have to give ourselves grace. We are um taught that, or conditioned that we gotta have it all together all the time, and we gotta save face, and we can't show emotion, and we can't be hurt. And if it triggers you and you shed a tear, let it be, but just don't let it pull you back to a place where it's now your whole day is ruined.
Right.
Because we'll give everybody else grace, but we real hard on ourselves.
Um, oh, I'm texting somebody who need to hear this.
Yeah, we're really unkind to ourselves.
And why is that? Can somebody answer that question? Why are we so hard on ourselves?
So,
It helps the healing. Okay. Journaling. She said like some homework.
Okay.
Yes. Dang, let me see if I can find it. It's a book. Um,
Hey, cousin.
if I can figure out how to put it in here,
If
I'll.
not, send it to me and I'll send it to her.
Okay. Um,
Um,
it's on Amazon. So there are several trauma books that you can get, um, like workbooks and different things like that. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I don't encourage anybody to go it alone. I think that you should probably have a professional that you're working with when you are working through like a trauma workbook,
mhm.
because you may be triggered and it may be too overwhelming and you might need that professional support. Um,
I also think it's helpful to identify triggers, so that becoming aware of something helps you gain control over it. Um, uh, so if
this,
you know certain places trigger you or certain times of year, then you'll be more cautious in how you engage. Yes, Yolanda, we are. You can go to the website resolutions VHS,
hmm
or send a message through the Facebook page.
okay, so it's called No One Told Me We Can Heal Too. It's by an African American therapist, and her name is Laquita Norris. I'm gonna show you.
I think another important thing to know when we are healing in relationships is, um, put the name. Can you put the name in the chat, Yolanda?
I sure can.
Um, is making note of the positive attributes of those people as well as the negative ones, because bad things are always, um they always have a stronger impact on us than the good things. And so, when people hurt us, that's what we tend to hold on to and we forget the good things. And so I think that can help us in our healing process too. It's like, or they didn't just do damage to me, they helped me in some ways too. Miss Sheila said, I think being the strong one, I think I should know better at times. There's no room for mistakes. Um, I have to be perfect, which is not true. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, you do not have to be perfect.
Because perfection is such a lie.
Yeah. So this book I have used, it. I mean, it's for African American women, but one of the things that I asked her, I think she said it was a couple of other clinicians who asked her, "Is it okay to use it with other races?" And she was like, "I never thought about it like that." But I used it with one of my Caucasian clients because she felt like she was the black sheep, and so um, we took that approach with using the book.
And I think another thing that's important in heal, I like that cousin, she
Oh,
said she made a journal called Declare and Decree, and she reads them 7 times a night. That's a good idea. Um,
yes, wonderful.
Yeah. So writing things down, not just bad things, but good things. Because again, we have to be reminded of positive things. The negative things gonna stick with us. Ain't nobody got to remind us of nothing bad, because we
Mhm.
gonna hold on to that. But sometimes we need to be reminded of the good things, both about other people and about ourselves, because we
Mhm.
forget the things that we do that are good.
Yeah, it's no different than like, if you're a spiritual person and you believe in God, you speak in some scriptures
Mm-hmm.
over your life. And so I always encourage my clients to engage in self affirmations. Affirm
Mm-hmm.
some things about yourself, especially if you're struggling, if you're down, or you're not real certain about yourself. Make a list. Like, I actually have a worksheet, and it's just I am, and then they have to fill it in with positive affirmations about themselves. But a huge part of healing is doing the work. And sometimes we just don't want to do it.
Because it hurts to heal.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts to heal. You got to deal with some stuff that um you don't want to deal with. Like, you got to deal with the ugly part. It's like um I've never experienced it personally, but I've seen and heard of, when people suffer, second and third degree burns, and they have to scrape the skin and, clean the wounds and all that. I
Mm-hmm.
heard people say how painful it is. But if you don't do it, they won't heal properly. And so for us to heal, sometimes we got to scrape away that dead skin. And it's such a painful process, because you got to deal with not only the ugly stuff about yourself, but you got to deal with the ugly stuff about your family members. And it hurts. It hurts to feel it, it hurts to experience it. But if you don't do it, then you'll never get to the healed place that you want to be at.
LaQuinda, you were there live when we were talking about healing that night, and we talked about healing from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
I use the analogy of like a bed sore. And
Yep.
so if you've ever seen one, a really, really nasty one, a really, really bad one, sometimes they're down to the bone. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And so you think about some of the trauma that people have endured. If it's 20, 30 years old, think about how deep that wound is.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when they're triggered, it's like pouring salt on that wound. It hurts even worse.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order for it to heal, you may have to debride it, like she said, pulling back the skin. But you have to treat it. And in treating it is a process. They do something to it. Most of the time with wound care, they come and they clean it every day.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to do something to you every day
Every day.
to start that healing process.
Yeah.
And they medicate it, okay, and then they cover it back up.
Yep. And do
And
it.
in the process, is it going to ooze? Is it going to drain? Is it going to stink? Yes. But once it's done, once it's healed, it looks like perfectly new skin. And sometimes you can't even tell that there was a wound there.
Mm-hmm. Liz, and my heart goes out to you. And it's possible that you were not protected. That could be a very real feeling. It's also possible that you weren't protected because they didn't know how,
Mm-hmm.
or they were too busy hiding in their own shame to even think to protect you. Not an excuse or justification, but
Yeah.
like Yolanda said earlier, everybody has a story. Um, and so part of your healing will be getting to the root of the damage that was caused because you went unprotected. Um,
It is selfish.
it's selfish. It is selfish, but no, I won't say but. It's selfish, and it's sad because they probably became selfish because all they knew how to do was to try to protect themselves,
Mhm.
not thinking about the damage that them turning inward was going to cause the other people around them. And that's why spaces like these are so important, not because it's me and Yolanda, but because people need a place that they can express, their hurt and their pain and what they're struggling with, so that they'll know that they're not the only ones dealing with these things. We see people all the time, every day, who feel like they're the only ones struggling with things, and it causes them to um hide, because they feel like, I can't be honest. I can't tell my truth because nobody else is going to understand. Nobody else is going through it. And most of us out here just raggedy, like, just trying to hold it together. Um,
Mhm.
but
I
everybody's
think you
dealing.
have to, when you have been traumatized or when you have been hurt, I think it's always in the forefront of your brain
Mm-hmm.
to some degree. And so I'll talk about me. When I had my kids, people used to be like, "Oh, she won't let anybody keep them," or this, and that. It wasn't that I didn't trust the people in my circle, and I needed the help, but they couldn't talk. They were babies. So if something happened to them, that was on me because I didn't protect them.
Yeah.
I allowed them to go and stay with someone because either um, I was working or I needed a break or something like that. So they stayed with two people, literally, my mama and their babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I moved back to my hometown because I did not want my children, being kept by anybody, just whoever I had to leave them with. Um, and so that was one of my concerns, is protecting them. Um,
well, if they call you a mean mom for that,
so
they'll eventually get over it and they'll appreciate it later. Now that they're older, they can talk very well, and they gonna fight you back. So
mhm.
I'm not worried.
Yeah, yeah,
But I say that because in this profession, we've learned a lot of times it's not the adults that are doing the inappropriate touching. A lot of times it's the other children.
because they've been touched and now they're modeling what they saw.
Exactly. You think about, I mean, come on now. Just think about it. How many times have y'all heard a story of it's a car gang going on in the front,
All the kids in the back.
all the kids in the back, and you better not come out here because grown folks talking. Well, if nobody ever goes to check in on those children, I mean, I've heard it too many times.
Mhm. And the other part of that, the whole healing piece, another reason it's so important for us to realize the things that we need to heal from, is because if we don't acknowledge that we need it, it creates the cycle where it's being done to the kids and they feel like they can't come to us. And so now they go from um, being victims to being predators, and
Hmm.
now they're damaging someone else, and it creates a cycle. And so we have to heal so that we can not just jump into protect mode and don't bother to listen. We have to be healed enough that our kids can, or whoever can, come to us and talk to us, and we can make a decision from a more healed place, and not just you stay away from everybody, or you want to fight everybody, or you know what I'm saying, you're angry and bitter and the child can't do anything, um, because you're still projecting your damage onto them. And
Hmm.
so it's important that those who have suffered traumas become healed enough to be effective in parenting, and not just pull away from everybody, and you don't know how to work through things, because you need connections.
Oh, definitely. And I think
You
we have to
don't
be
need
those.
negative or toxic ones, but you need them.
we have to give those children grace, the ones who were victims and then became predators. And I'm not in any way taking up for them. I'm saying we've got to explain to them what was done to you was wrong,
Yeah.
why you should not do it to the next
Hmm.
person.
Yeah. And that's what ends the cycle that Liz was talking about earlier. Um, Nobody wants to address it. They don't want to talk about it. They just tell them don't do that. If they even say that, or whoop them and don't explain, what's going on. But if it was done to them, they may think it's okay.
Well, and then you just got to think about in general, like with children. Sometimes they are just given things, and so they just feel like, well, I want it, and I should just be able to have it. And it can be from like a toy or something out the refrigerator, whatever. We have to start early with teaching them boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
and that they have to ask for things.
Yeah. And also something that I was reading something, and a mom was saying that she doesn't make her kids share always. If it's something that's theirs and their sibling asks, they don't have to say yes. I think that's another side of creating healthy boundaries. Sometimes kids, some of us, are too kind, too giving, because we were taught you always share, you always give, and it can create trauma, because I may not have much to give. I may be emotionally depleted, but if I don't give you what you asked me for, I'm made to feel guilty because of it.
Mhm.
So boundaries is not just what you allow in; it's also what you allow out,
Right.
and that can be part of your healing too.
Mhm. My mom always tells my family with my twins, no, you ask them,
Yeah.
can you have a hug? Don't make them.
Mm-hmm. And you ain't even gotta don't make your kids hug everybody, because
Right.
spirits be jumping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that what goes on in the house stays in the house.
Oh no. And my husband said that one day in here. Um, we were all sitting in the living room, and I was like, "Oh no, 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 it doesn't." Mm-mm. And I was like, "Let me correct you."
Mm-hmm.
And we had to have a whole conversation about that because
Yeah.
no, if it's something going on in this house that's wrong, yeah, you better tell somebody.
Mm-hmm. And they need to know who we all need to know in the process of healing. We need to know who our people are, right? You can't tell everybody everything on your healing journey in life, period. Um,
Yes.
but just like with setting boundaries, you got to know who to go to for what. Just because I can't tell you all my business doesn't mean that I can't talk to you about some things.
Mhm.
And so you
But
you
that's where the professional comes in because if you're talking to a professional, they can't go out and tell your
Mhm.
business. They
Yeah,
are bound by HIPAA.
yeah. But even in your conversations with friends, don't feel like just because they your friend and you've been knowing them for 30 years, you can tell them everything. Because sometimes they may not mean any harm. They just don't have the bandwidth to deal with what it is that you're telling them. They don't have the capacity for it. And
Hmm.
and then check their relationship history. If you're going to them about a relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or a family relationship, look at their fruit. What if
Right.
you've been divorced 15 times, I might not want to go to you about staying together. Now when I'm ready to leave, you might be the one. Staying together, I might want to go somewhere else, because clearly you'll pack your rags and leave.
Hmm.
So um is this helping y'all? I hope so. But
Oh
Um,
wait a minute. I think we missed an important comment. How do I go back up?
thank you, Sharonda.
I was just telling my husband that we should start using blessed oil to anoint our kids, family, and ourselves. So he gave a look to where I read off different passages of Bible pertaining to blessed oil. Oh, I agree.
Keep it on me, baby.
Yep.
Keep it on me. Um, so yeah, don't let where things are now make you feel like this is the way it will always be. Healing is possible, but it's a journey. It's not a place that you get to quickly. Um, you will have glimpses of it. You will be healed in some areas more than others, but you just have to know that just like anything else that you want is something that you have to work on and be intentional about. It's not just gonna happen because time passes. um
No.
I don't agree with the statement time heals.
How
um
is it going to heal if you haven't addressed it? I
exactly.
mean, think about that.
Yeah. And if it does heal it, it's gonna leave a nasty scar, and you're always gonna know it's there.
Hmm. You
So
think about a splinter. If you get a splinter in your hand and you don't realize that it's there, and then it your skin just kind of grows over, and then there's something hard in it. How hard is that going to be to get out? How uncomfortable is that going to be? Oh, I know because I've had one.
mhm,
Didn't realize what it was. I knew something was hard in my finger, but wasn't really sure. And then it became infected.
mhm.
It's no different than those emotional scars and those emotional wounds.
Because and when you don't do the work to heal, um it just creates more damage. And we talk about this pretty much every time we're on here, is how your mental and emotional health is tied to your physical health. So when you're walking around with unresolved trauma, unaddressed trauma, it will start to deteriorate your physical health.
Yep.
And that's scientifically proven that that
Yes.
happens. And so when you're hanging on to that, uh, is dealing with uh, the pain of it, the fact that it happened.
Hmm.
Um, so Lee said part of it is getting those questions answered, but sometimes the answer is you can't get the answer from that person. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. It's the sad reality. You have to address it. Part of addressing it is getting those questions answered.
But
So,
I think that goes back to what I said to you earlier. You don't have any control. You can only control you.
mhm,
And so I want you to really ask yourself. So I'm gonna give you some homework. I want you to ask yourself, if I never get the answers to my questions, what am I going to do to heal?
mhm. How can I move forward without the answers?
Hmm.
Because it's just like your car. You don't know how everything in your car works, but you know how to get it and operate it. So if you never know how to pull the transmission or break down a motor, you can still operate it. You may not know all the intricacies of everything, why everything happened. You may not get all the answers, but that doesn't mean you can't move forward in your healing. Sometimes it's making peace with the answers that you can't have. And
Hmm.
peace doesn't mean I'm okay with it, I like it. Peace means I accept that this is a place of that I won't be able to resolve this particular thing. So this is how I'm going to move forward.
Yeah, and I am so about this right here. I do think that it is okay for you to have Jesus and a therapist. And I
Mm-hmm.
think early on in my career, I was afraid to say that. I think it was a professor that I had, and then a supervisor that I had. And as social workers, we're taught different things. LaQuinda is from a different discipline than me. I, in no way, shape, or form, am going to put my religion off on someone else. Uh,
Mhm.
but I'm also not going to apologize for believing what I believe.
Mhm.
That's just where I am. And so, um, in answering one of her questions, I want her to know that prayer is a is another good coping skill.
Mhm.
Prayer and meditation, because you think about the old hymn, "Oh, what peace we often forfeit, all because we don't take it to the Lord in prayer." That's
Mhm.
real.
That is real.
I mean, he's the one. He can heal everything.
Mhm. Yeah.
He can give you the tools that you need. He can um, come to you maybe in your dreams and give you the answers to questions that people here won't give you.
Mhm.
He may be the one to give you that peace,
Yeah.
passes all understanding, because we know that he can and he will.
Mhm.
It's all about what we ask him. It's all about our expectations.
And he may, through prayer, he may send someone to you who can give you those answers, or at least some of them. Um, but you can't expend your energy trying to force an answer from someone who is unwilling to give it. Give that energy back to yourself and figuring out how to move forward. Um, until you get the answers, or until you make peace with the fact that you don't have the answers.
Hmm.
So Allison said time gives you perspective. The trauma and pain is still there. That's a good point. So the further you are removed from it, from a thing, sometimes you can see it better, um, and understand it better than when you're right in it. Um,
Yes.
yeah, wound care, Shonda. That's so important. Tamika said everything can't be shared with everyone. I just echo everything can be shared with everyone. I know which friends I can talk to about what topic. Yeah.
Yep. All of that is true. All of that's great. Good feedback.
That's good, Allison. She said
Allison.
therapy can help you know what you need to pray for also. Maybe what you thought you needed was not what he wanted for you. That's so true. That's
Hmm.
so true. Because it helps you sort things out.
Yep.
And sometimes the emotions that we're showing are just secondary. It's not really what the problem is. And so sometimes when you get beyond that, you see what it is that you really need to deal with.
Yeah. Lakeisha said we have to be open to the fact that we may never know the answer.
Yeah,
Yeah, and sometimes that's just that's like that's the hardest thing.
that is the hardest part. That's what Liz said. That's the hard part. That's the hard part, and that's the painful part. That's the painful part.
Yep.
But some things I don't know. I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you like I know why, because I don't. I
Yep.
just know that you can't get stuck there. You have too much life to live. You have too many blessings on the table. You have too much joy ahead, too much peace ahead, too much living ahead to get stuck there.
Yep.
Because even with the answer, it's not going to change what happened. It may help you make a little more sense of it, but it's not going to, you can't, the answer isn't going to undo the damage.
It is not. It is not. Oh, thank you. I needed to hear that.
So,
That was
not,
one of the things that I struggle with my dad. Like I had literally just left him. And my mama, I mean everybody in my circle knows. Like I went over that in my head 1,000 times. Like, why did he get in the car? Why?
mm-hmm,
And I know now it's something I'm never gonna get the answer to.
Mhm.
And having the answer is just not gonna change the outcome. So it doesn't even matter.
Mhm. And that's part of the whole making peace with things situation. It hurts that you don't know, but knowing wouldn't change anything. So having the answers is good, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not um it's not a prerequisite for your healing.
Or withholding.
Sometimes you don't realize your growth until God reminds us of our testimony when it's time to share and be transparent to counsel or help someone else. Yeah, that's why I said earlier, make a list of not just bad things, but also good things. Because sometimes you forget the progress that you've made, the things that you've accomplished. You forget the good things about yourself because you're so focused on the negative.
Right. And God puts us through things for exactly what Sharonda just said. So that we can have a testimony and so that we can help other people. And so using your pain um to make a positive difference.
Mm-hmm. Lisa, because they know the answer to what you're asking, but withhold it to protect themselves. So what do you do about that? I mean, yeah, sometimes you do want an apology, which you may never get. So what do? You want to fight them every time you see them? You want to put some bleach their clothes? You want
Lakeisha said, "Oh, are you responding to Lakeisha?"
to Lakeisha and Liz? Yeah, if you don't get those things that they have and they could give you to help you in your I knew this, I knew it.
Right. Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a
That's
minute.
why I asked.
How valuable is that apology? And is it even genuine?
Yeah, so can you trust their apology? You know what I
Right.
mean? What is it really going to give you? Give
Because if you've
yourself.
been waiting on years for an apology, what's going to make this person just wake up and have an epiphany one day that, oh, I wronged you and I need to apologize?
And also consider how much time you're giving them still.
Yes.
You are
You have
still
got to
giving
take
them
back
so
your
much of your
control.
time. Take your power back. Yes, your
Yes.
apology would be nice. Yes, you telling me why would be an answer. I know you could do it. That's just like when your baby daddy got money and he won't help take care of his kids. You can do it, but you won't do it. So what you gonna do? You gonna do what you gotta do
Hmm.
to
And
take
that's
care.
saying so much more about them than it is about you.
Mm-hmm. And them,
And I respect what you're saying.
yeah, and
That they
that would
finally
be
acknowledge
nice.
her.
That would be nice, but again, it's not a prerequisite to your healing. If they never acknowledge your hurt, it doesn't change the fact that you hurt. But what's more important, them acknowledging that they hurt you or you taking your power back after the hurt?
Kamisa said the energy they give off will let you know if it's real. You'll know, you will feel it.
And so, what if they apologize and it doesn't feel sincere? Then leads back to on site.
Yeah, and then you're hurt again because you like, I waited all this time to get this apology and it ain't worth two pennies.
Uh, yeah. Allison said it was a light bulb moment for me when I realized my ability to move on shouldn't be based on someone's apology. That apology is for their growth, not mine. That's good,
Oh
Allison.
man.
Yeah,
Now Allison is one of our therapists. She works yeah.
and a lot to that point, the apology. When they get to the place that they're ready to apologize, it's because they're trying to clear their conscience. It's not
Mm,
about you. That's why they won't do it now. They're not
right.
really messed up about your healing. They're only ready to give it when they're ready to try to facilitate their own healing. They're trying to get their power back. So you got to get yours back with
Mm.
or without them. Oh, cousin, she coming? Okay. It's going to be a good Christmas. It's going to be a good Christmas. We claiming it.
Oh, yes. Please claim it and anoint the house.
Yes. Liz, you think you got a mama issue, baby.
Okay, Kamisa said, what about if you decide to forgive or not? Which is the hard part? That's personal. That's personal to that's specific to each person. So what I will tell you is not forgiving is like it's like a cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It's growing inside of you. So not forgiving, it's not hurting them because they have went on with their life. It is only hurting you. Each
Mm-hmm.
day that you refuse to forgive them, it's hurting you in some capacity.
And Yolanda tapped into this or touched on this earlier. Forgiving and allowing access is two different things. I can forgive you, but I ain't never got to speak to you again. And when I see you, I'll act like you don't exist. I may not be mean or ugly to you, but the ignore game gonna be real strong because I have nothing else for you. And so,
Sure,
uh,
that's true.
say that again.
I was responding to Sharonda. Yes, because forgiveness is for you, it is not for the other person. She said, when you don't get the apology, you can pray and ask God to help you release it because we sometimes can't on our own.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not sincere, and sometimes the person may die and you never get it. Pray for peace that surpasses your understanding.
Mm-hmm.
All things that I told y'all earlier, yes, I completely agree. I feel Lakeisha said I feel like forgiving is more for me than it is the other person. Exactly. And
Yeah. How dare you move on? Because baby, it's not about you. With people who can create that kind of damage and trauma, they're not thinking about the effect that it has on other people. They're not thinking about their impact or their damage. So it's easy to move on.
on a scale of 1 to 10, Liz, as it relates to anger, where would you say you are on the scale right now? Oh, and you don't have to. No, you don't need to excuse your language. This is an open platform. You can say whatever you want to say, and this is a safe space.
So while Liz is responding quickly, how many times do you forgive, yet they continue to do the same thing? That goes back to that access. Uh,
Exactly.
they gonna keep doing it as long as you keep giving them access. So they don't
Okay,
care
so
nothing
she said
about
I'm
your
a 10 out of 10. Okay, so that is why that's what I thought, but I wanted to that is what God said to me. All the comments are coming in so fast. Another point, if our children see us apologize for our wrongs against them or others, they will catch on. It's important to teach our littles to apologize when they feel convicted. It's so easy just to gloss over small mistakes with them because life is busy. But it is such a valuable skill that will take them into adulthood. Oh, so true. So
that
true.
is true. Yeah, that was one thing I was big
Said
on.
I've been at a 10 for a while because it's over and over and over. So let me, okay, I'm gonna respond to you, but let me respond to Allison. So 2 nights ago, my daughter was in the bed with me and my husband. And my husband said Anthony came in the room and tried to get in the bed. I did not remember this. And he said, he said, I told him, no, go get back in your bed. It's not enough room. So when they told me that the next morning, I felt so bad and I apologized to him. So the next night, him him and my daughter, they're twins. So a lot of times they'll sleep together. So he was in Avery's bed, but he wasn't asleep. And I whispered to him, I said, "You want to come get in the bed with me?" And he was like, "Yes." And so he slept with me. And that was because I felt bad. And I told him, I said, "I apologize. I didn't remember telling you that last night. I said I was wrong for telling you to go get back in the bed and that it wasn't enough room." There, I mean, I just felt like that wasn't fair. But in response to what Liz said, I have to go back. She said,
Been
I,
at a 10 for a while.
yeah, but no, I asked her that in response to something else that she said.
So,
Oh, she said, which pisses me off. Like, how dare you move on when you done left me with this BS? Because um they probably don't even realize what they did.
or the damage that it
Or
done.
yeah, so it could be a few different things. One, they just don't care. Two, they are not even knowledgeable that they hurt you. And the third thing is it may be normal for them because it was done to them. I don't know. The list goes on and on and on.
And let me ask this, friend. You've been at a 10 because of how they hurt you. What about the damage that you're causing to yourself? Because you're cheating yourself. They took something from you, right? They didn't protect you. You weren't protected. They caused you harm and trauma, and they're not sorry about it. But what about the harm that you're causing to yourself because you're still focused on what they took away? When I know all the amazing things that you've accomplished in spite of that, I know how amazing you are in spite of that. So, what about the hurt that you're inflicting on yourself
Hmm.
as a result of their lack of emotional maturity, their lack of empathy and compassion?
I would just be curious, because I don't know Liz, but I'm just curious. Um, does she have high blood pressure, or does she experience headaches often, or does she experience back pain? Yeah, when you hold on to things, it does affect your health.
Mm-hmm.
She said the hurt now comes from not being around family during the holidays. So choose which family you can be around. Is that an option?
Headaches often and insomnia.
Insomnia. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know why you have headaches often and you have insomnia? Because you refuse to I'm not going to say let it go because I don't think that that's healthy, but I am going to encourage you to start your healing process.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna even go a step further because I don't know if you have a therapist, but if you do, you know, dig a little deeper, talk about it a little more, maybe increase your sessions. If you don't, I would encourage you to get a therapist. And if you don't want to do that, you can always start with that book. But again, she even says that she does not encourage you to use that book without being in therapy.
Mm-hmm. And so back to, you said the hurt comes from not being around family during the holidays. Um, you don't have to answer it on here, Liz, but I would challenge you to figure out, is there a way? Which therapist, Liz? Us?
Oh, she said, okay, I'm a little upset with the therapist.
Not us.
I'm sorry. We weren't, I'm not trying
I
to
don't think
upset
she's
you.
talking about us. I don't think she's talking about us. She'll say it if she was. Um,
Okay.
But is there a way? Maybe you can't, go home for a week, but maybe you can go for the day. Um, okay, she said not us. Um, so listen, some people are just not a fit. And so if you had a therapist that did not work for you, don't be sorry for leaving.
Yeah, find one that will work for you.
Rapport is important. You have to be comfortable with that person. Otherwise, you're not gonna want to open up. And so
Yeah, you
find
definitely got to be able to trust them, and you have to feel like they're not judging you.
yeah, definitely have to feel safe and not judged.
When is talking gonna work? So she said, my therapist, all we do is talk. I'm tired of talking. When is talking gonna work? So does she give you like homework exercises?
And I think we've had this conversation before too. You may want to look into like EMDR or somatic therapy,
Hmm.
because for certain trauma that is more effective than talk therapy.
Yes.
So
We have a therapist at Resolutions. Her name is Amy Perez, and she is trained in EMDR.
not hypnotized, not Notorious B.I.G.
No, 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 no. It's not that. It's really a proven what's the word I'm looking for here? Y'all, I said it in staff and I couldn't remember the other day when I was telling y'all about the treatment plans. And I said they're in green. Help me out, Allison and LaQuinda.
That probably was when I had to step out.
Evidence based. So it's
Evidence based,
evidence
yes,
based,
yes.
okay. Um so EMDR also parts work. So
Can you put those in
IFS
the
is
chat?
another one that's good. Internal family systems. Kamisa said, "What if the person's acts like they didn't do anything wrong?" Well, I think that's the same thing that Liz has been saying the whole night.
Can you put those? I'm trying to remember. Somebody asked for us to put those therapies in the chat.
Okay, EMDR.
Um, sometimes on their end, it's not an act. Like it's normalized behavior to them. Um, so they may not be acting like they did anything wrong, because to them they didn't. Yeah, EMDR is intense, but I mean it's rough anyway.
Yeah,
Goes back to what we said about healing from the inside out. You got to get through the hard parts, the painful parts, to get to the healing.
and that's just the thing. Like when you do IFS, it strictly deals with part work. So like your child part, your adult part. Um, and so it's another good one. I'm typing
So
it down.
someone asked what EMDR is. It's EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a type of therapy that is specifically designed for um, addressing or alleviating distress associated with traumatic memories. Um, I'm not trained in it, um,
And neither am I.
but it helps. It's designed to help you heal from like disturbing things that happen to you, and it's been studied, and the people who I know who have experienced it say that it's very effective. Um,
Hmm.
but I don't. That's about the most that I can tell you, is that it has had a lot of um, a lot of positive results.
I'm gonna get with Amy tomorrow. That training, man, I want to be trained, but the
Me
training
too.
is like a 6 month training, and it is very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I'm trying to take resolution somewhere else, so EMDR is gonna have to wait.
Yeah. But the other thing is it deals with basically how the brain processes the trauma.
Hmm.
And like it helps, it's designed to help eliminate like the imbalance that was created in your brain as a result of the trauma. And I'm gonna stop talking because I'm gonna say something wrong in a minute.
Okay, LaQuinta, so you and I, we're gonna make a pact when we get through this season. Okay, we're gonna do EMDR training together. Okay,
Okay.
so sign up. We're gonna do it.
Lee said start a GoFundMe. Y'all gonna sponsor us for $100 a month. You can sponsor 2 therapists to get
Right,
EMDR trained.
because it's about 5 grand. But
Lee,
no,
what?
seriously, Amy Perez at Resolutions Behavioral Health Services. She is taking clients. Now you have to be in the state of Arkansas to see her, because she's remote only, but she is trained in EMDR.
Um, uh, Shaquila asks, "What is IFS?"
Internal family systems.
Mm-hmm.
So it deals with parts work, like what I was telling you earlier. Hold on, let me give you some more uh information because I don't want to be wrong coming off the top of my head. So, what is internal family systems? Frequently used as an evidence based psychotherapy, helping people heal by accessing and healing their protective um, and wounded inner parts. So, when you think about it, like if you were a child and you were traumatized as a child, that little girl that's still within you is still hurt. So now you're an adult that is taking around this inner child that's still wounded. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That's very possible.
Cousin, I can't treat you no way, but you can come on back so your mom can. Yeah. You will have access to someone in your area for sure,
Where is she?
around in the Memphis area.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we down here in Southeast Arkansas. Look, I can't even find another therapist to put on staff
What Liz said, what time we do?
next week. Look, um, actually, I'm gonna talk to Amy, and I'm gonna see if maybe we can do a shorter version of this on Thursday. I cannot make any promises, okay? Um, because I
First,
think she is on vacation starting next week. Let me look.
oh,
Well, she's available Monday and Tuesday, so we'll see. LaQuinta, what's your schedule like for Thursday?
this Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
unavailable.
She's unavailable. Okay. So I'll get with Amy because I do think that it will be good to bring Amy on.
Mhm.
Maybe we can get Allison to come on one night.
Yeah, Allison.
I
Come
would
in
just
that
love to
chat.
have a round table talk.
So maybe Monday for sure.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
If we're not on Monday, we usually try to do by Tuesday. One
Yeah.
of us has young children, so and a
That
whole lot of responsibilities. Liz, we talked about Liz. They actually did one similar to what we talked about before. This when was it? September when y'all went to Branson, Yolanda?
was so good. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So listen. Somebody asked about coping skills. So like I told y'all earlier, I'm all about you need Jesus and a therapist. Somebody asked one night, and then we're gonna get off of here because I know we've been over here over an hour. Somebody asked one night, does something have to be wrong excuse me, for you to see a therapist. No. Sometimes you just need somebody that you don't know to talk to.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, think about all the stuff that we have to deal with in a day. Life, work, marriage, raising children, bills,
Hmm.
just day-to-day life, your physical health. Maybe you're caring for an elder parent, or maybe you're caring for a child with special needs. I mean, it could be a number of things.
Hmm.
So the lady who did the retreat, her name is Sonia Manning, and it's called "Am I My Sister's Keeper?" You can catch her live on Facebook. It's called "Living with a Purpose," so you can follow her on there. I'll type it in. But she goes live every Monday and Wednesday. So in the morning. I don't know if this
So,
is going.
there's a couple more questions in the chat, Yolanda. While you're
Oh,
looking,
okay.
uh,
I didn't see them. What were they?
okay, what are some things you can do to help someone deal with a person that has been through trauma? So you haven't been through the trauma yourself, but you are dealing with someone else who's been through trauma.
Well, you can start by maybe asking them what are some of their triggers. Um, and then I would encourage you, if that person is not in therapy, to get in therapy.
And what if they aren't willing to go to therapy?
Ooh, if they aren't willing to go to therapy,
You got to learn some coping skills for dealing with that person.
yes. Would they journal? Would they at least write about their trauma?
Will they? While you're waiting for her response, Shaquila, go to, and this is for anyone. Of course, we'd love you to join us at Resolutions. However, if you are not in our area or in Arkansas, if you go to Psychology Today
Mm-hmm.
and click on Find a Therapist and put in your city, um, and then you can filter it by what your issue is, your type of insurance, if you have a gender preference for your therapist. And then
Yeah.
if you click on type of therapist, you can click, EMDR or somatic or IFS, and it will pull up therapists in your area who are trained in those particular modalities.
Oh, they think nothing is wrong with them. Okay. Mm, I'm not gonna call any names, but I'm dealing with somebody like that right now. Um. Well,
So, what do you do?
I just try to listen. And be there for that person when I can. But some days, depending on the day that I've had, I don't have the bandwidth, and so I just have to say I can't today. Um, they have to be at a point in their lives where they are willing to acknowledge that something is wrong. And acknowledging that something is wrong does not mean that you are bad. Um, how can I say this? It doesn't mean that you're a bad person or that you did something wrong. It just is acknowledging that something in life has happened and it hurt you and you need to deal with it. But acknowledgement is the first step to healing.
And so, if they won't acknowledge it, then the person that they're in relationships, or the people that they're in relationships with, whether it's a romantic relationship, friendship, whatever, um, if they won't identify their triggers, I think sometimes we have to identify their triggers and then figure out how we're going to deal with it. with it. So if we see that something is triggering them, we got to create that boundary and say, okay, I'm about to stay away from her because she about to go left, and I don't have the capacity for that today.
Mhm.
We have to create those boundaries, um, and either know when to pull back or know when to remove ourselves completely, because that just goes back to the apologies and the acknowledgments. You can't make people do anything.
You cannot. They're gonna do it in their own time.
Um, and if they don't, how does the saying goes? You can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just got to change the people around you, and you may have to limit some access to you.
I would ask them this question. If they aren't able to see it, like if they don't think that there's anything wrong, get them to a place like where they're comfortable. So whatever that takes, I don't know if it's gonna take you going to dinner or you got to get them to a place where they're calm and they're not on the defense, and then start having a conversation about some things. But you're gonna have to do it gently. So gently sharing with them some of the things that you see and asking them how that impacts them. They may not specifically answer you right then, but I would encourage them to think about it.
You're right, Miss Doris. We can't control them, but we can control how we respond. And
That's it.
sometimes that's all they want. Sometimes all some people want is a reaction, and then they'll even use that as ammunition against you. See, I told you they were like that. I told you, that's how they act. Um, but you just got to be mindful of the people around you.
Yep. When someone does not realize they are experiencing trauma or have not acknowledged their pain, supporting them can be more challenging. Here are a few steps you can gently embrace. Observe and listen. Pay attention to any signs of distress, changes in behavior, or emotional struggles. Um, oh, what happened?
That
That may indicate underlying trauma. Listen carefully if they open up about their struggles, even if they don't mention trauma explicitly. Express concern and care. Approach them gently and express your concern for their well being. Let them know you've noticed some changes and that you are there to support them. Oh, hold on, I gotta scroll.
You want me to finish?
Yes, because I lost my place.
If they need to talk. 3, share your observations without judgment. If they seem open to discussing their experiences, share your observations in a non-judgmental way. You can mention the specific behaviors or emotions you've noticed and how they differ from their usual self. 4, provide information on trauma. Educate them about the trauma, its symptoms, and common reactions. Share resources, articles, or books that can help them understand what they might be going through. 5, offer a safe and non threatening environment. Create a safe space where they feel comfortable sharing their feelings or concerns. Assure them that their emotions are valid and that they won't be met with a judgment or criticism. 6, encourage self reflection. Help them explore um, their emotions and experiences by open ended questions that invite self reflection. Encourage them to think about any challenging events or difficult experiences that they may have encountered. 7, suggest professional help. If the signs and symptoms persist or worsen, gently recommend seeking professional support. Let them know that talking to a therapist or counselor who specializes in trauma can be beneficial. for their well-being. 8, be patient. It's essential to respect their process and readiness to acknowledge their trauma. They may not be ready to face it immediately, and that's okay. Continue offering support and reassurance without pushing them beyond their comfort level. Remember to be mindful of boundaries and the individual's readiness to delve into their trauma. Respect their autonomy while ensuring you are always available to support them when they are ready to confront and cover their trauma.
So those were some really good tips, Rwanda. But I'm gonna say, hold on. Number 4, provide information on trauma, educate them about trauma and symptoms and common reactions. I don't know. They may not be equipped to do that.
Mm.
So Sharonda is my cousin, and she is a spiritual counselor. Sharonda, stay exactly what you are because I don't want to mess it up.
And also with that, those are some good tips, but you also have to be mindful that you're not investing more in that person's healing than they are, because one, that can create resentment, and two, that can cross a boundary, right? You end up sabotaging yourself or sacrificing some of your own emotional health pouring into somebody who doesn't want it. And so you have to be careful of how you pour.
Oh my. She said it ended up with a hole in the ceiling. Wow.
So all they wanted to do, how much money they, oh, they didn't want the copper, did they? They was on something else. They ain't want no healing. They wanted a
Mm.
lick.
And so I definitely think that you should support your friends. So I agree with a lot of the things that Sharonda said. But again, like LaQuinta said, you don't want to overextend yourself. You don't want to be more invested in their healing than they are.
Mhm.
I mean, you can pour things out, like I said, gently, but they've got to be receptive to it.
Mhm.
You have to realize that this mental health is no different than physical health. Um, well, it is to a certain degree, but then to a certain degree, it's not. It's just like if somebody goes to the doctor and they get a diagnosis of high blood pressure or diabetes, but they don't believe it, and so they don't take their medicine. Do they get better? No, they don't.
Right.
Okay, so Sharonda put her
Credential.
yeah, she put her credentials, and she's in the Houston area. Well, we thank y'all for joining us. We will post when we'll be going live again. We'll try to do better about that. Actually letting you know so you can be prepared instead of just hopping on. And message us and let us know some topics that you want to talk about. We don't want to always bring the topic.
Yeah, give us some ideas. Oh, you're welcome, Tanika. Thank you for joining us. Thank y'all so much
Yeah.
for taking time out of your night.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So like, comment, share, invite some people next week.
Yes. Good
All right.
night, cousin. Good night, everybody.
Have a blessed week.